talk about why would you be on a channel called Saggy Melons? That's embarrassing for you. How I can't believe you did that.
Itchy Balls was booked.
Old man cringe community. I'd like to officially go on record as saying that the Intellivision Amico does not have laggy melons.
Give me my play date. All my frustration, I want to crank one out.
I usually do that in the shower.
This is not family friendly. I'm out.
Couchless, familyless people don't understand it's time when you're a busy person. You care about family.
There's people that will
You
think
have
this
less
is
time.
Couchless family, homeless people.
just put Nick full screen while he's eating, and we can all enjoy.
Why are you hurting me, Retro Ball? Why would you ruin my childhood?
Look, I
Why
will
would you do
punch
that?
that little kid in the stomach, right?
I'm the alpha Mike on the show tonight. This is what Amico After Dark does to you.
Anything could happen in After Dark, right?
See, that's one thing Amico All Access doesn't have is a catchy theme song, right?
Oh, wow.
Oh, you just mean.
Oh, my
Just
goodness.
mean-spirited.
Guys, Tommy can make one for you. Come on, that's what he does.
Right.
True.
Really?
What is up, everyone?
I would totally take the music from Tommy. I would not turn that down.
We got a chat popping off already. Welcome to post E3 Amico After Dark. We got a very special guest with us tonight, along with the regular panel, Phil Adam. Thank you so much for being here, man. It's great to have you on the show. I'm so glad you could take off some time. I know you're a busy guy to spend some time with us. We got DJC in the house, Retro Advisory Board, Geeks with Cash. Mike Garvey, the Garvey Gravy is back, or as we've just recently coined him, the Mike Sauce, and we got Mike Mullis. We got Mike Mullis. So we'll let those two battle it out for the alpha Mike spot tonight.
Hey, I'm just glad you didn't write me out of the intro. That's all.
I actually have to. I'm going to work on a new one after this week's. We're going to get a new one because we've had Tommy on, we've had Chuck on, now we've got Phil. So we got to work Phil into the intro. So Phil, any catchy one-liners? Just feel free to throw them out.
I've yet to be in the intro. I've got to step up my game.
You got to pay your dues.
Yeah.
I'm only there eating a slice of pizza. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Was that what that was? I thought it was fried chicken.
Nope.
Daniel C, Anthem Two Tails in the chat. Everybody, Intellivision Master is here. Shondell Rivers. So, Phil, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure most of the people on the panel, along with everyone in the chat, is familiar with your history, but kind of just give us a rundown of who you are and your experience in the gaming industry.
Well, it's funny. Tommy talks about us having 600 years of experience. Well, I'm a big part of that. I'm 40 of them. In myself, I said that's what happens when you start when you're 8 years old, right?
Yeah, it's like a child prodigy.
Exactly. Well, the trouble is my son's 48, so I can't get away with that one. So,
my parents used to do that to me every year. They'd call me on my birthday to tell me how old
I know. It's so funny. My son, until he turned 40, until he turned 45, I'd say, "You're 42 this year." She says, "Dad, I'm 38. I says, "Look, you're not trying to date me, okay? You're dating the other girls, right?" I says, "Come on." When he hit 45, I could finally say his age. He didn't care anymore. But up to 45, he didn't want to hear about it. So anyway. Oh, hey, guys, thanks for having me on. I love what you do. I love the way you cover Amico. I think you guys tell it like it is. There are a lot of questions, right? And there's a lot going on. But if you watched a little bit of Tommy's live, even though the video quality wasn't very good today, he did a little bit of us all kind of gathering back at the office for the first time in a long
really
time.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I think it gives you a little idea of the breadth and experience. I hear the people out there, and I don't really listen to the haters. I don't really care. I don't really have time for them, because at the end of the day, we have such an impressive group of people. And we all really get one thing. We love to listen. We love to listen what you guys think, what you want. I love to when you're guessing right, and I even love it when you're guessing wrong. It's absolutely great.
Wrong.
Well, you're just you're
guessing and not moving on.
Well, I mean, Tommy's like an open book. Sometimes I just want to put some duct tape on his mouth, but I can't do it. So, and he knows
how about when he said today that everyone had the day off? No working today. I was like, what?
Just better start leaving.
Yeah, and then he shows a video of us all at the office. I don't get it.
Right. You can almost hear Nick from the other room. Son of a.
Nick's quiet when it comes to that. Tommy's. I mean, first of all, you guys know Tommy's a great guy. He is approachable. He is amazing, and I feel very lucky to work with him. Tommy and I share one thing. We actually are born on the same day. There's a few years apart, so I'm 13 years older than Tommy. But I think we have kind of a brother-father relationship. We have a very good relationship. I always tell Tommy, you can pay somebody a lot less than you pay me to say yes, although not very much because you don't pay me very much. So, I'll give you a quick history from my point. I had to write it down. I'm that old. I can't remember. But I started in 81 with a little place called Computer Connection. We were the first Apple and IBM national account store. I went out to Cupertino and I learned to do training of a Lisa project on the Lisa computer before the Mac ever happened.
First mouse.
And so, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I go back to my friend Bill Budge when he created Pinball Construction Set, which was the precursor to how you use the mouse to be, what we see on the Macintosh, and a dear friend. And, so I did that for a while, Apple national account dealer. And then I founded a little company, Spectrum Holobyte, in 83 with my two partners. Probably best known for what you see behind me, Gato. Gato was a World War II submarine simulation. It was the first product to take Microsoft Flight Simulator out of the #1 position on Billboard magazine after 3 years.
Yeah.
And
Falcon 3.0 stands as one of my favorite of all time flight sim.
I've got the SPA, like the awards. This is a Tetris award. I've got Falcon awards, Gato awards.
I love how the book is this thick. I mean, yes. That is such a wonderful game.
My biggest contribution to Falcon was the 5 minutes to play card. I figured if people could be up in the air and playing in 5 minutes, they'd get into the game because it was the depth of it is incredible.
It was incredible.
I actually took Falcon to Admiral Cressy at the penthouse at the Pentagon, and we did a partial task trainer with a company called Dynamics out of San Diego. It cost about $300,000, but they were buying simulators for about $16 million to put on ships for partial task training on the way out to the water. Wow. And we sold them a $300,000 box. We did G's by compression on the seat, but we had 100% of the switchology for all the gears and stuff on the throttle and controls, so they could simulate flying. Granted, Falcon was not a carrier-based plane. It was this F-16, but they didn't need that. They just needed the training, the 2 or 3 days they were going out to where they could launch and do training exercises. And so I did that deal with Admiral Cressy in the Pentagon, and I met his press secretary on a flight. I'm a social animal. I meet people. Real quick, I'm sorry, I'll get diverted often. Spectrum.
We're very used to it.
You are. Yeah,
we all do. We all do.
So you're far more focused than we ever are.
Yes,
so you're fine.
You are.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, the Spectrum Holobyte. I mean, for me, as an older PC gamer, I mean, when you're talking about that, I remember so many unbelievable. I mean, I played Stunt Driver like it was going out of style.
That was such a fun game.
That was so easy. So the graphics were just so plain, but oh my God, it was so, just those
because
kind of
we
things.
hadn't seen that kind of game before on the PC. I mean, I think that's what we looked at unique, and we used the same aerodynamics that we did in all of our simulators. I mean, I really, when I met with Tom Clancy, I had that deal done, but Robert Maxwell's company, Mirrorsoft, was buying Spectrum at the time. They had to come up with $50,000 on December 6th. They didn't send the money, and Bill Staley, my arch nemesis and good friend, Microprose, did the deal with with the guys at Naval. That wasn't Naval Institute Press. I did Flight of the Intruder with Naval Institute Press, but that was with Clancy himself. And Tom was a friend of mine before he passed away. He wanted to do the deal with us. He said the deal, but I didn't have the $50,000 to send it. So Bill got the deal. Bill always said, "Hey, I got the deal." So he and I raced in Cambridge at an SBA conference. I finished 10 yards in front of him, but I had a Falcon shirt on. I says, I just wanted to see you to look at what it's like to be 10 yards behind that Falcon your whole fucking life, dude.
Oh, I was going to ask about your relationship with Wild Bill Steely.
Bill and I are good friends, and then every time I beat him, he reminds me he's 6 years older than I am, and I go, "Well, you look 20 years older than I am." So,
wow.
Bill's a good guy, a good friend. I grew up with Trip
He's resurrecting
Hawkins
Micropros.
and I grew up with Trip Hawkins and Doug Carlson at Broderbund, and these were all Ken Williams at Sierra's. These were the people that were my peers. And just like I'm talking back then, I didn't talk. I let them talk and teach me how to do the business. So
Micropros is in my backyard. It's like, or at least was in Hunt Valley, Maryland. It's about 20 minutes from me.
Yeah, Sid's a great guy. I used to love meeting with Sid. Sid's mind was incredible when he did Civilization, and I just loved to listen to Sid and how his mind worked. Wow. Mine didn't. I'm more of a business guy.
He's also one hell of a guitar player. So my guitar player, my band, and we know Sid, and he comes to see us play once in a while. So we see him every once in a blue moon.
I think I met Sid a total of 2 times, but he would remember me. But he and Tommy should play guitar together. That'd be awesome. So.
Yeah. He's pretty damn talented.
So in the Spectrum Holobyte days, and then I was in London at our offices there, and Jim McConaughey, who's passed away, unfortunately, Jim said, "Phil, I got something to show you. I think it would be a good tabletop $5 game." And he shows me these blocks falling. And I says, "Well, look, you guys are going to dinner. I'll join you in a few minutes." At 7 o'clock the next morning, he came back in the office, and I was still playing. I couldn't quit, and it was Tetris. Now, you have to understand what I was looking at was blocks falling. There was no music. There was no graphics. There was no scoring system. It was 4-color magenta, and it was just so Alexi could show that he could show off 4 colors on a PC. You have to remember, you have to remember when I did Gato originally, I founded a company based on the PC Junior, so you can't say I was all that smart. So, but you know what? I got on covers of every magazine because there was no other games on the PC Junior. So
I have spent 35 years calling that Gato. I'm sorry.
It is a Gato class. First of all, Gato is Spanish for cat. It is a Gato class submarine. You are actually correct, but because we use the cat designation, I've always called it Gato, but it is a Gato class sub. Here's
Como Arigato.
There you go. There's your Gato.
Time out Mike again.
Nice.
Perfect.
Fine, I'm trying.
So you're correct. And actually, I just donated my original piece of artwork to the National Video Game Museum in Dallas to John and those guys. Ooh. And it's 3D paper mache. I did that in Orbiter, which was the first game that came out that had a 3D hologram. And of course, we shipped that not long before the Challenger crash. And I ended up doing a deal and donating a lot of money to the victims of the Challenger crash because we were doing a space shuttle simulation at the time. So it's kind of bizarre how the industry leads you into different things in different ways. And back then, we were pretty popular. So I was chairman of the board of the entertainment committee of the Software Publishers Association. And then I was also chairman of the board of the entire Software Publishers Association. I got to do little things like speak with Wozniak and Gates at one point in my life. It's like, it's surreal to me because I actually treat everybody exactly the same because we're all human, right? I don't look at it as any different. And I can remember sitting there with the head of marketing at Apple and Seymour Rubin, who founded, it was a Word, I think it was WordPerfect back in the day, and Bill's marketing guy. And I sat there and I laughed at them when they said their product was $500 and mine was $39.95. I said, yeah, there'll be a day where our industry and the video game will be worth more than your ass. No problem. Pretty bravado, but we're a pretty big industry today, right? So we got there. So I've been involved with a lot of things. I did a few things back with Gato. Wall Street Journal gave me credit for doing the first fake spreadsheet and inventing the boss key. I put a fake spreadsheet where you could hit one key and it popped up a spreadsheet. IBM in Boca Raton ordered 75 copies. They said, we can't order it because it's not a business utility. I says, what if I put in a fake spreadsheet? Good. They ordered 75 copies. I'd only sold 50 copies at the time.
That's a businessman. That's a businessman's mind right there. That's what that is.
Productivity went so far down.
Yeah, I didn't know it'd get me in the Wall Street Journal. I just thought I was going to sell 75 copies of the game. So
that's called pivoting, Phil. That's what
it's what you do, right? Well, again, it was all good. I mean, the game that got me into the business in the first place was Star Raiders. And if you take a look at, do you all remember Star Raiders in the Atari days or whatever, and going from quadrant to quadrant?
Yeah.
If you look at the design of Gato, I'll use your word. If you look at Gato, what'd you do? You went from quadrant to quadrant. Right. You went and conquered the enemy in different quadrants or whatever. Gato sold 500,000 copies. It's a compiled basic program. When you blew up the ship, if you looked through it, you could see a ship behind it because you could see right through it. Right. It was very simple, but addictive. It hit all the boxes. You talk about what we're doing today with Intellivision. It's that simplicity that I hope is part of our attraction to people. And I don't want it to just be family and just simple so everybody can play it. I want it to have fun gameplay individually as well, guys. I want you guys to go, hey, this is bitching. I can't believe the company was only charging $10 because once you start having fun, I'm going to charge your ass more.
Well, you don't want that 800-page instruction manual. You want the 10. You want the 10 line. This is how you play. You get in that sort of simplicity.
Absolutely, Rab. Yeah. No question about it. So, one thing the designation and what people have referred to me, because I've done a few things in the industry because I'm a social gadfly, is that I did a deal with a company called Silicon and Synapse, and they did 3 or 4 products from us. I was consulting for Bob Davidson at Davidson and Company. I talked him into buying them, and he put them together with Sierra, and they became Blizzard. Alan Adham was a good friend. Right. So I helped put that deal together. I guess you guys have probably heard of Descent. The game Descent, if you're PC people. Mike and Matt, I put that original deal together. Rusty Buchert, who's a producer at Intellivision, is the guy who brought it to me. I always take credit for it, but hats off to Rusty because he kind of found it. I just put the deal together. So Parallax. You probably heard of BioWare, maybe?
Oh, no.
Never heard of BioWare.
Ray and Greg.
I thought it had something, but it fell out.
Ray and Greg were down visiting Virgin, which was just down the street from us at Interplay. And so then they came to visit me second. And Brian says, well, how do we get them? I says, well, they got girlfriends and wives. Let's fly them down for the weekend and close the deal. So we did. We flew their wives and girlfriends down from Canada. I tried to do that with Mark Rain and Epic, and Mark blew me off. So. So that's how we landed the BioWare deal, and we did a 5-deal exclusive with them up front, knowing that once they got to be big, we'd have a hard time retaining them and being able to afford them, but we'd get the benefit and they'd get the benefit. So I did that with those guys. I did the Star Trek licenses back in the day and negotiated those from a business standpoint. You guys have probably heard of Naughty Dog.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Way of the Warrior, right?
One of my favorite.
Way of the Warrior. Thank you.
Developers.
That's actually that's what I went after. That was before anything else. It was Way of the Warrior that I liked. And I took it to Brian Fargo, and Brian says, we can't afford it. And I says, hey, Universal just bought 30% of it. Can I take it to them? He says, sure. So Skip Paul over at Universal and Lou, well, I didn't deal directly with Lou Wasserman, but I dealt with Skip, who was his number 2. And he says, we like the deal. So I flew to Boston, and I took Jason and Andy to Legal Seafood. It was their first dinner ever in the industry. I went and met them at the house, the dog laying on the floor with the two of them. And we went to Legal Seafood, and we couldn't close the deal. And Tommy often says, I did the Crash Bandicoot deal. I did it more off Way of the Warrior to Universal. And we did a 3-product deal, and Crash Bandicoot became part of that deal. So I did make that happen. So people kind of gave me the label. You guys know who Clive Davis is?
Yes,
I do.
So he signed Janis Joplin. He signed a lot of bands. So I was kind of known as the Clive Davis of the video game world. But I was much younger, much better looking. So, and with no ego.
Much fewer royalties.
And so humble today.
I was just having fun. I was having a blast. It's like a kid in a candy shop. So, we did a lot of great things. I worked with a lot of great people. I think probably the Peter Gabriel or Explorer deal I did was one of the first music video games for Interplay in the early 90s. We did so many different IP, and I didn't work on them, but I did a lot of the business transaction deals to make sure that both sides won. And I was an avid game player, younger, PC mostly, although Star Raiders was, well, I don't know. I guess the Atari 400 was a PC.
That was a computer. Yeah. I had the 800 and 1200 XL. That's considered a computer.
Yeah, I had the chiclet keyboard was my first one. So and the 400. So
the insane in the membrane keyboard.
Yeah. So I mean, Jason, Andy, all these guys, all good guys. Ray and Greg. I've worked with a lot of fantastic talent, and I think I always have liked the fact that I thought I had a good eye for talent. And then I'd go to the Rusty Bucherts and my guys who are the avid game players in technology. And I go, guys, I think these guys can do commercial grade product. What do you think? And then I relied on them. And the one thing, I got interviewed one time and they said, what do you do better than anybody else? I says, I say no better than anybody I know. I says, because I say it quickly. When people brought a project to Interplay or to me, I could look at it, get my guy's opinion, and within a day say yes or no. Because I had to hustle. I had to say yes quick, or EA was going to kick my ass, or Sierra, or Carlson at Broderbund, or any of those guys, Lucasfilm or whatever. I mean, I founded Spectrum Holobyte. A couple of jobs I turned down. Maybe I wish I hadn't. I didn't turn down the president of Lucas. I actually tried to put Brian Fargo and George Lucas together, and I wanted to run Lucas North and work with George. But I was one of two finalists, but I'd already committed to Brian, so I turned him down. I turned down Davidson to be the president of Davidson, and I turned down Olaf Olafsson to be the first president of Sony, and that was because I already committed to Brian, and I was a loyal guy. And he was giving me a percentage of the company, and Sony was giving me nothing. And I said, hey, you guys want to come out at $399 on the price point with the original PlayStation? I says, it needs to be $299. Will I have any say? They says, no, we just want you to be pretty, be American, and talk to people. And I said no. So
you did more interesting things.
Honestly, I don't think I had the confidence at that time in my life to be the president of Sony. I don't know that I was the guy. And I didn't believe I was the guy. So I know I'm exposing myself as whatever, but I just didn't think I was ready for that. But I was ready to take Brian from being a developer to a publisher. That I knew how to do, and I knew how to do it well. Yeah. And I had to clean up the channel. And our first product coming out the door was a Star Trek 20, and we did the 25th anniversary. Yep. Mm-hmm. And we went through hundreds of thousands. We nailed it with that one. We did a really good job with it. It wasn't a technology thing. We did other Star Trek product later on, with Kirk and Shatner, and I can give you some good.
I think the next one was Judgment Rights, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Judgment Rights. It's exactly right. So,
I love those games. Oh my God, I love those. You are. I am geeking out. I mean, this is like I don't fanboy very much.
Is anyone else a fellow Philly fanatic? And I say that as a Mets fan. So come on.
I went to the All-Star game in Philly. Actually, I met with Sid Meier, and I drove to the All-Star game in the new stadium because I didn't know it was that far away because Paul Sackman, our head of marketing, had tickets to the All-Star game. And so I drove up to Philly for the All-Star game. And, of course, you guys already know Tommy's going to be there in a few weeks. Some of you are going to join him. So
I just, it's amazing to me because I know you're talking, you talk about you could have been the head of Sony, but I will tell you that Interplay was no small shakes back then, as you know. I mean, this must have been pre-you, but the first game that I really fell in love with from Interplay is Battle Chess. And then
it was during me too. So we had Neuromancer and Barge-Tale and a few things before I got there because they were published by EA.
Because remember, Brian Fargo took Wasteland with him to where he is now. Well, now he's with Microsoft, but he had Wasteland, for all of this time and took that IP with him.
I sat in an office for 12 years beside Brian. And I could have had a bigger office on the other corner. And they said, well, why do you want the smaller office by Brian? I says, because I got to get him to say yes or no. I want to sit in the office beside him because I can hear when he's in a shitty mood or in a good mood. And I know when to go in and ask. And Brian very rarely said no to me. But with me, Brian could say no. And he knew that he gave me 30 days to prove him wrong. And if I could come back in 30 days and show that deal could make money and was a good product, he'd buy into it. So, and it was that way. He first said no when I brought him Carmageddon. And I got him to buy in on that one. Now, that was done by a different group in Europe, and we just did distribution. We did the Gremlin deal where we did all of Gremlin's products that we distributed in the U.S. and stuff as well. So, so we did a lot of things there. So I'm not looking at the chat. I'm too old to multitask, guys.
So where's your office in relation to
Tommy?
I'm 8 miles. I'm 8 miles from the office. I go into the office right now since we've opened it up. I go in on Wednesdays, but my title is Chief Revenue Officer. It just got promoted. So I'm one of Tommy and Nick and Rob in marketing and myself are the C-level officers of the 52 employees. So, and then you've got Hans runs Europe as well. Right. And even though I'm the Chief Revenue Officer, I also was the Senior VP of Global Sales and Marketing. And
so you got to check the business card sometimes.
Yeah. He's done so much stuff. I take notes too. I'll be honest.
Okay, got it. So anyway,
Nick's the constant unhappy one, right? That's what Tommy says.
Money just keeps flowing, right?
Nick's more fun than you can think of. It's just he's a good guy. He just brings us all down to earth. I love working with Nick, and he's a smart guy. And really is great at kind of driving the company and as well. So now we're having a lot of fun. We're working hard. You got 52 people with their nose to the grindstone, and we love the passion we have. And we think we've got a very unique product and system, and we got a lot of experience. I mean, we talk about my experience, but there's guys, David Perry, there's Tommy, there's Mike Dietz. So I'm in awe of some of the guys I'm working with, and
John Alvarado.
Matter of fact, I did ask John today. Actually, I took a picture with John today. I says, "Can I borrow your mustache for tonight? The guys really want to see you. They don't want to see me."
That's funny.
We're gonna have such a hard time ever getting him on the show.
Phil, let me ask you this. So if you could sort of like really just explain what your position is and kind of go through that process of how Tommy came to you and introduced the idea of the Amico. What was like, and what made you want to choose to do this project with him? So
well, I was at Interplay when Tommy was working on Earthworm Jim for Shiny, and we had already bought Shiny. And so I met Tommy back then because he had been at Virgin right down the street. And I met Tommy then. And then 3 years ago plus, Tommy says, "Hey, I'm bringing back the Intellivision, and you know, I had met Keith a couple times, and knew Keith, and Keith had passed away, and Tommy kind of came to me with that and said, "Hey, I know you've done all of these business deals, and would you want to do this?" And he told me what the system was, and I bought into it. I love the idea of changing the world. I love the idea of making the world a better place. I love the idea of bringing families together. I love the idea of going back to where we were in the beginning when we all started playing games together. It was a no-brainer for me. And you know, I said, well, hey, I can do the business deals, but I've run sales and marketing. I've run development. I can do more. And he says, fine, that's one or two less people I have to hire. So, so really it was like, what can we do? How do we put together? I put my focus and attention in on the sales side. And then Tommy and I went to Sesame Street together with our marketing person. You know, we put the Hot Wheels thing together. Jason Enos works with me on the business side as well. And Jason's been around so many properties and products over the years. And, you know, we really had a lot of fun. The senior vice president of Major League Baseball, I hired into the industry. Yes, Saggy, I love bubble tea. So,
you're Saggy's
questions were asked and answered.
The important ones, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a no-brainer. And again, like, I negotiate pretty much a lot of the business deals. I brought a lot of the third-party developers. I'm not going to go into who all of them are, but some of them I've worked with for over 30 years as developers that are doing all of our licensed titles. And we're talking about top-line developers. We're not talking about crap developers. We're talking about people who know what they're doing.
One of the biggest things that hit me last year when you guys did that August presentation, I think it was August, was when you highlighted all the developers around the different around the world. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is like a serious thing. I think that was one thing that really hit home for me was this wasn't just a little tiny project that someone was coming up with. This was like a legitimate item with a team behind it. I think that was like one of the big things that really sort of caused me to, you know, raise an eyebrow and say, okay, now I'm really interested in this thing.
It's some incredible scope. Yeah, I mean, incredibly talented team. So when we sit there and have people working with Sesame Street or, you know, anybody that's a licensed, you need developers that have worked with licensed properties before because there's a lot to get approval done or whatever. And, you know, I love it when you guys say go out and get this and go out and get that or whatever. And if I had an open checkbook at $50 million, I'd do it. I don't. I mean, you can only get so much with good looks and charm, and I'm not that good looking anymore, and I'm not very charming either. So,
question about that is not just licenses, but there's a lot of games that deserve more attention, and sometimes I sent them over to Tommy. I look through. I have a Switch, and I also have a PlayStation 4, and I comb through every week all the games, and I try to look for things that hit on, you know, the tenets of the Amico. You know, it's got to be, you know, E10 or below. It's got to be, you know, you're around the $10 to $20 range because they could lower it sometimes. It's got to have multiplayer and single player. It's got to have that fun factor. It's not these open worlds and stuff, but I mean, talk about that. Have you been able to secure deals with games that are already out there that maybe just didn't get the exposure that they? I mean, you
have to realize the capacity that 50 total people with a bunch in hardware have to produce 800 games. We don't. Yeah. We just can't do it. Yeah. We're going to do. One thing we're not going to do is we're not going to become the Ouya. We understand that content's going to drive this system.
You're not going to oversaturate.
Correct. We've got 5 genres.
Can you say that a little louder for the idiots in the back, Phil? We're not going to become the Ouya.
Well, we're not. I mean, we're going to deliver great content.
Would you consider being the Ouya 2, 3?
I don't know. I'd like to have, if I'm only half the success of the Wii and we only do 50 million units, I
Not
won't
bad.
be too disappointed.
No, not at all, right?
No, not really.
I love people who say, yeah, you're no more than the Wii. That piece of crap. Yeah, 102 million units, the third largest selling console of all time. So
people crack me up when they try to bag on the Wii. I'm like, you have no idea what the sales number were that generation. They destroyed everybody, and you just didn't see it.
It was
because you're sitting there ignoring it.
Well, you can chase your arguments down certain rabbit holes and not realize that they're going nowhere. So.
I think at the end we can't. You know what? There's a lot of stuff we want to bring out. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of products we're going to do, and people are going, "Are you coming out with this? You coming out with that?" Yeah. We've only got so many people, so many testers. We're trying to put money into building hardware. We're trying to sit there and ascertain parts, which you can't find anywhere in the world right now. We're trying to sit there and go through development, go through testing, and going through regulation and lots of stuff. So we have bandwidth. As we grow, we'll do more product. We've got an incredible IP library that we own. We will get there. We've got, I can't do a license with everything. I mean, sometimes you need a license. Not always do we. You guys understand. You know what you loved about Intellivision and our IP and our product. But if we're going to be a product that meets the masses, we can't just do retro product, right? We've got to be more than that, but we can still build in simplicity, family, fun. To tell you the truth, there will be games that are intended for different age audiences that I'm going to have fun playing.
Yeah.
No
and
question.
if you're trying to appeal to like parents, for instance,
I lost you guys. Hang on. 1 second. I will be right there.
All of us start talking, but no sound. Just go.
Yeah, right.
I got
so mean.
So mean. Yeah, now you can talk nasty.
He was quick.
He's just trying to mess with you while your headset's messed up.
I could hear you guys the whole time. I was just pretending to
That's the way he weeds out.
I would like to point out that I wasn't part of this.
Yeah. Someone has fallen on the Alvarado ladder, Mike.
I do have a question for you.
That was a test, and I failed. Yeah.
So I do have a question for you, Phil. I've kind of become recently in the last year or so, kind of a student of like game console history, what worked, what didn't work, and where things hit and where things missed. And the GameCube has been like my most recent one and the most confusing one to me because they built everything exactly the right way. They made it cheap, they made it fun, they made it kind of cheerful, they made it easy for developers to go in and build things. And it seems like you guys have done a lot of things, but the one thing that didn't do that you guys stand a chance of being able to do is being able to get the word out of there to be able to get people in. And with how accessible you guys make development kits and things like that, do you guys have a plan to kind of tackle that and kind of get word out of like, hey, we have this thing. It's so rapid and easy to develop for. What do you guys think? To kind of, I guess.
I mean, after E3, we're getting flooded with people wanting to develop for it. I can right now.
That's outstanding.
What I have to spend for each development kit to bring it out. Plus, I have a shortage of getting all the parts for it to build more development kits. It's just a timing and cadence issue. We will get there. It's just that we're not going to get there quickly. It's going to come more toward the end of the year, first of next year. And again, once we have hundreds of thousands and a million or millions out there, yes, we'll have totally opened up. It'll be a different story. Right now, again, with 50 employees, you only have so much bandwidth to go through everything that we go. Will we go to third-party development at some point? Probably, but until we've got units in an installed base, why would people want to? Because they need to make money off of developing on their own. So those are things that we'll do in the future that we become more accessible about. Just something we can't go there quite yet because we're going to be new once and we've got to be new correct. We've got to hit it.
Absolutely.
We got to hit the ground running. We've got to sit there and deliver a great console. Tommy, let me tell you something. He and the team have designed something very unique and special. It's an entertainment piece. And I mean, Tommy constantly tells us about, we don't talk about delivering a console. We don't even say the Amico because it's not the Amico. It's Amico. It is a character. It's a personality. It's its own entertainment piece. and we're very proud of that.
Well,
I don't know if I answered your question. That I skirted a little bit.
Oh no! You actually answered it about as well as I think anybody probably could have answered it. That's kind of direction you want to go, but you're not in a place where you can really push that yet because you just can't get the development kits out, even if you wanted to people out in that sphere, and you want a little more control hitting the ground running so that you can ensure the quality of the product at its very first inception and make a good impression.
Yeah, we'd love to have. Yeah, absolutely. And all the products that you guys want and would love to see, and the licenses, we'd love that too. But it's going to take time, and you just need to be a little patient with us. We're going there. We're going to get there. You know, Tommy's got the drive. I've never met anybody with more drive and passion than Tommy.
So,
oh my God!
It's funny you say that, because that drive and passion and energy is what sold a lot of people on the system. And absolutely, and I'll tell you, because I wanted to ask you about the E3, the E3 reception, the kind of the post E3 where things are. And it's I have some friends in my sphere, and one of them today just said, "Hey, I finally pulled the trigger. Couldn't help myself after watching the E3 presentation. He pre-ordered the Amico Glacier White, or as I'm going to get Tommy to call it, the Arctic White." And then all of a sudden, after that, like friend of mine after friend of mine said, "Oh yeah, I ordered mine. I got the Founders. It's like it, and it's like, how has this been from a post E3 reception for you guys?"
We're pretty jazzed. The hater thing, I just discount that, right? I don't really care.
Yeah, that's a small.
At the end of the day, and honestly, you guys take care of them pretty quickly for us. I don't even have to worry about it anymore because you guys kick their ass. So,
have you met Relic Gamer?
He's made a career off of what you just said.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with this not being somebody's system or being a hardcore gamer.
Right.
I mean, I on Microsoft Xbox, I logged over 1,000 hours on Rally Sports Challenge. 1,000 driving hours.
Oh,
1,000 driving hours.
My man.
It may have cost me a wife, but that's okay.
She wasn't worth it, Phil. She wasn't worth it.
Priorities here.
So I think that we're driven. We really are. But we're driven. It's not a financial drive, and it's the cost of parts and everything is just skyrocketing right now. The cost of transportation and getting stuff produced, it is. You can't believe how bad it is. So we need to come out slowly and crawl. Then we'll walk. Then we'll run.
Yeah.
So I need you guys to understand that it's a labor of love for us. But it's not just our love, it's your love too. You guys are Team Amico as much as any of us employees, because our passion is the same kind of passion you're feeling. We listen to what you say. We wish we could do all the things that you guys would like, but we'll do them within reason, but we'll do it with timing and cadence, because we have to do that to be successful. And we understand success is not given. It's going to take hard work, but it takes people like Tommy Tallarico driving the ship. Oh my God, the man is possessed. I don't know if he sleeps.
I don't think he sleeps.
We're not sure he does.
He says he does. He's lying.
I said something on the other Amico, thing on Monday. I said, listen, who would you put behind? What CEO would you put behind on launching a product other than Tommy? Now, everybody was saying, Microsoft and stuff like that, but they've put out a lot of products and abandoned them.
Yeah,
Tommy
Microsoft also has like $2 billion weight, but $3 billion weight behind them.
But they abandoned a lot of stuff. So what good is that? Tommy is going to see this through, and it's the passion. I think what Mike was really saying, yes, Tommy sold us on it, but it was his passion. And when he shows all of you, like Phil and John and all the rest of you, there's a passion there. You all are there. You're ready. There's people trying to get back to work, even when people are cutting the cake. They want to get back to work. They want to, see this thing through. And I mean, that's Tommy always says he hires based on passion. And a lot of people don't understand. Like when we see stuff, we're passionate about it, not because we're friends with Tommy or anything, but because we believe in this product and we love this system. I mean, Tommy's the icing on the cake. But
I mean,
I
listen to you guys, and you critique us when you need to, and if you don't see something you think is quite right, you question it. I love that. I mean, ultimately,
and he's come on when we've done that and said, "Hey, let me answer that for you." I mean, that's how transparent he has been.
Yeah,
I know. It's amazing. I mean, you want to talk about, Tommy is the second most important person in my life. I have to put my wife first, guys. So it's a smart man. Honestly, and Tommy and I, we have a very unique relationship where I'll call Tommy up and go, "Hey, I need 5 minutes," because he doesn't have more than that. He doesn't. And if I can't get my point across in 5 minutes, I shouldn't have called him or whatever. Yeah. And he'll call me with something, and we just hit it quickly. And I think we have so much respect. It doesn't mean we're smarter than anybody. We have a lot of experience in the business, but we get it because we open ourselves up to what your eyes see, what everybody's eyes see, and we collectively take that and kind of go from there. So I don't know. It's
we apologize because he only has 5 minutes for you because he spends 4 hours with us.
I was about to say something, but never mind.
Well, I
have him for 5 minutes 20 times a day though. So
I just harken back to the first time I met him. He came onto our show like a year and a half ago, and I was like, okay, Intellivision. I grew up on Intellivision. This is neat. He spent 3.5 hours talking to us on a Thursday night, and by the time he was done, all 5 of us on the panel were lining up to buy a Founders Edition. I mean, I've got the wood grain coming, and I mean, there was just this fire that he has that I couldn't shake. And I'm like, you know what? Anybody who is this passionate about their product and has something that looks like it looks, and he was showing us very early Astro Smash. I mean, we were showing kind of like that first Gamescom trailer from 2018, and I'm like, it's like this is the system for me. Like, I've got this slated over. Like, I love my Xbox stuff, but I've got this slated over a PlayStation 5. That's how into the Amico I am.
Tommy's involved in every single product, period. No questions. Not just, oh, that looks good today. He's testing it. He is one of a kind. And the people that bag on Tommy don't know him, or they're jealous of him. The guy didn't have to do this. He didn't have to go out. He's successful. He's got his own sound. He's got his music business. He didn't have to go through this at all. But he loved this. Was his system as a kid. I mean, he said to me, "Hey, won't it be great the day we ship it? We'll both hop in a plane and we'll drop a unit off to your mom in Missouri and my mom in Canada." Nice. And my mom's 95, and you'll see her posting likes on Tommy's stuff all the time. So awesome. It really is. It's unique. He is a machine. No, it's not a kid.
Well, and
oh my god, that word is so. It's funny
thrown around by everybody these days.
Those people are gonna eat some goat someday, aren't they? So it's
goat. Nice.
I like goat.
The reason why they
goat's
do
more
that
of a sweet flavor, I suppose.
In the past, there were products that were vaporware and scams, and they were very easy to note. Like they wouldn't show what's inside, or you'd see, oh, by the way, wait a second, that footage is taken from somewhere else, or that product has already been out, and it's the same. Look, these people that are on the internet, they've become famous about exposing scams.
Well, they're after clicks, right?
They want the views.
They want clicks. They're after a story. and
Yes,
they want this to be
exactly.
a particular story,
But
and
Tommy
they will
and
pick pieces
Tommy
apart
and
to
you
make
have
the show.
shown these. Tommy and you have shown these things from the beginning, like Mike was saying with the Astra Smash. Here's pre-alpha, and it looked really good. But he's like, here's this next stage. Now we see it now, and it's blowing us away because
I can't
it
wait.
just keeps getting better and better and better because he shows the work.
Nick's
Shows the
such
work.
a special developer anyway. I mean, he worked on Giants. He worked on all these things at Shiny. He's a brilliant developer,
Astro
even a
Smash.
better human being. So,
And the fact that the system comes with it, that I can't get over that. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, there was a cut. For me, it was a process because and like what Nick said originally when I first heard Intellivision, there's a new Intellivision. My first reaction was, there's going to be another console that doesn't launch because, we've had all these failures and these things that didn't work out. So I kind of just foo-fooed it. I was like, it's just going to be one of those things again. And then some people it started coming up, started talking about it. I'm like, all right, let me look into this thing. Okay. And then I had some questions, I had some concerns, and Tommy said, hey, I would love to come on your channel and talk about it and tell you what we're doing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I definitely want to hear more. Who better than to hear it from than the CEO of the company? Phil Spencer's not coming on my channel when I have issues with something. So I talked to Tommy, and just like what Mike said, Phil, I don't know. I mean, I own a business. I started my business 2 years ago. So when I see somebody, and Tommy's much older than me and he's done it before, but when I see somebody who is passionate about something as much as he is, I'm like, this guy is all in. He knows
pours himself into it.
Yeah, what his market is. I mean, he's living this. This is his life. This is his passion. This is what he wants to do. Plus, as a gamer, I look at it as, why wouldn't I want another option? Like, I love video games. It's my most favorite hobby there is. So, I love retro games. I play a little modern games. What better than to have something else? I wanted the Coleco Chameleon to be a real thing at the time, but it wasn't. That was just the reality of it. I decided at this point, and it's funny you mentioned the Wii earlier because, they showed, people comparing it to the Wii, and I remember, and a thought came to my head, the last time me, my wife, and my oldest daughter were all playing a game together was when we had a Wii. We were playing bowling, we were playing boxing. That was the last time the three of us played a game together. So now, with the Amico, maybe me, my wife, my three girls, I have three girls now, not just one. At the time I had one. Maybe we sit down for 15 minutes a week, 30 minutes a week. Like, why would I not want that? I don't care what the graphics look like as long as it's fun. And that's what Tommy says all the time. We're about having fun. And I'm like, okay, I want it to succeed. I want to be a part of this. I want to enjoy this. This is going to be a fun experience and a fun ride and a great console once it comes out.
I was looking a few months ago, and my daughter from Florida was up, and my son and my wife's daughter and son, and then my wife,
Really?
and one's watching TV, and one's playing Candy Crush, and one's doing something else on their phone, and I'm texting. Not one of us are talking to each other. About half a year before that, before COVID, I'm back with my mom and my sister. We're having dinner. We're at dinner. My mom's on her phone looking at Facebook. She's 94 at the time, or 93, whatever. My sister's on it. We're not talking. We're not communicating. We're in the same room. And I'm tired of it. And, a lot of times, my wife and I will sit down in the evening, and she's playing one game on her mobile. I'm playing one. We're not talking. We're not communicating. And I mean, it causes a rift through the household to sit there and play a game. I wasn't crazy about spades, and I'm watching the guys in Test in Salt Lake, and they go, we've never played spades before. This is fun. We love it. Oh my God. And it was so easy to learn. Yeah. My wife and I play Farkle almost every day, 10, 12 games, just at breakfast. We have dice sitting on the table playing Farkle every day. I play it with my family. We can play 10 people at a time. We have a great time with Farkle. It's a no-brainer. It's easy to learn. And so Tommy and the guys inside go, well, we haven't played it before. So once they started playing it, they go, this is pretty cool. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So, I think a lot of our games are timeless. I think they're evergreen. I think there's something that you can play for a long time. I think you'll play them with family. We're going to have some good stuff too. And anybody who says, I mean, if you look at the change in Evil from when we originally saw it to what it's becoming now, and Cyrus, but Farkle isn't real. I know who you are, Cyrus. I know who you are, Cyrus. Marion. So, anyway, it's all green screen. Oh, he went into the thing today. Yes, it is real. I mean, quite frankly, and it'll be fun to play, and the dice and doing everything. And it's so funny. I was in 3 dev meetings before I came on here, and you guys say, "Well, show us something new or whatever." And one of them, you know a little bit about. The other one, you know a lot about. The third one, you guys have no clue. So it's great. It's a great game.
Is it that 6-pack in game, Phil? Is it the 6-pack in game?
He's not going to tell you that.
No, we're not giving a 6-pack of beer away with every machine.
That is a great game.
His hearing, you're like, this is fantastic.
His selective hearing kicked in, John.
I'm old. Remember, I'm an old guy. I should be retired. Instead, I'm out here trying to help build a console for you guys and for me too. So what the hell? So I'm having a blast. I love what we're doing. I love the passion. I think it's always nice to have a little bit that you still want to know a little more. And I think at the right time, when Tommy decides, we'll let you know what that pack-in is. I mean, I know you guys want to see the look at the physical good packaging, and we are
enjoying the ride.
Yeah,
Tommy's got his plan and whatever, and I was working on the retail presentation for Koch Media for their UK guys and GameStop in Europe this morning, and we're going to do that presentation. And we have a different presentation for Canada that we have for Europe, that we have for US, and beer incentive sales. I got it.
A craft beer game, maybe like Tapper. You never know.
Yeah. So I think that the one thing that's clear in Tommy's mind is he really will. The Founders Edition people, those will get supported first. Your guys are right. I'm the guy who leads the retail charge, but they'll understand. I'll let them down slowly. But it is. We are. We're just trying to. We took on something ambitious. We took on the world. A worldwide release. Maybe we would have been smarter just to do North America only in the beginning, because all the regs, all the approvals, everything you have to do to get that done, it's a lot. It is, and if people don't think we all work hard,
it means too much. I mean, the chips aren't available. The world's gone through this before. We've had chip shortages. We have when Pong consoles were all the clone, or were all the rage back in 1975. Atari couldn't produce enough units. I mean, I think Sears wanted to order 250,000 Pong units from Home Pong from Atari. They couldn't produce that many. I think they made like 70,000. It's not like Sears went away. They were the #1 retailer, and little rinky-dink Atari couldn't produce for them. But they saw that it was something that was selling. It was good. Nobody could produce that kind of units. And you know what happened the next year, 1976? The industry grew faster than it had ever grown, even since. I think they went to sell like 1 million Coleco Telstars, 1 million Home Pong clones. I mean, it was just crazy. So I think the retailers will understand. I think people will understand this has been a horrendous year.
Well, that's my question is how are the retailers kind of dealing with all of this? I mean, I'm sure you talk to them often. Are they understanding of what's going on, or do they? Yeah,
they've been partners throughout. Really, the thing for them is timing and cadence again. So to get your marketing dollars together, to get the market prepared, how you're going to take out your shelf space, where you're going to be, how you're going to launch, and how we coordinate our marketing effort with them. Now, remember, I'm only going to be able to produce so many units. So, I mean, I can't. Walmart retail and big expansion things we can't do. I don't have enough units or whatever. I want to hug.
I think we all need a hug now.
Oh, we all do need a hug. All right. We'll do it. We can almost do it now that COVID's almost over. So.
I know.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
July
I'm
1st.
so happy to be open.
July 1st, Maryland drops its state of emergency.
Yep.
And we definitely got to bring that up. COVID, you were saying it's very ambitious and you all were taking on the world. I mean, look how far you've come and you've had COVID. No one else could have foreseen that. I go to Walmart, every week and there's no PlayStation 5s. There's no Xbox Series X. There's barely any Switches. And that's not a new console. That's like 3-4 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's empty shelves on electronics everywhere. So
there's
Mike,
no Switch Pros.
Mike's gonna bail.
Yeah,
so
I just need to bounce real quick, and I just wanted to tell you, Phil. First off, I am in awe of your history, and you've been a part of some of my growing up. So I, sitting here and talking to you and being able to ask you questions has been a real honor. And your passion for the Amico is a lot of the reason, too, why I think people watching this are going to go pre-order the system, because you've got a genuine passion for it. And while, Tommy's got energy that none of us have, because he's got that tiger blood, but
he does.
But what you bring to the table and your experience and stuff, I can't. October 10th can't get here fast enough for me.
Guys, I want to assure you one thing. There's a team sitting inside, if you look at that video today, that have as much experience and passion. The John Alvarados, the Mike Dietzes, the Jason Enoses, the Hans in Europe, Nick, maybe not video game, but what he brings to the party is amazing. We just added Chuck LaBella. I mean, the contacts and what he can bring to us and what he can help us get. Rob, our head of marketing, who comes out of Adidas and TaylorMade, and his connections and what he brings and the savvy. And I'm probably missing people, and I should. Bill Fisher, oh my gosh, Mr. Intellivision from the beginning. We have got so much a great team, but what we have is we have mutual respect. And just like Tommy, we listen to you guys. We hear what you say. We hear what you're after. We can't deliver it all at once. We're going to get there, but it's a great experience. You've heard a list of some of the things that I've been involved in my life. I've never been with a better team and a better group of people ever.
Oh, thank you so much.
And came in, jumped in with Tommy Tallarico. And Tommy, I did this, and I didn't even need the hype, but just I knew what incredible energy Tommy had, and I said, "Hey, I'm in. I'm all in." So
thank you so much for shedding some of your experience with us today. I mean, and John and crew, thanks for letting me pop in tonight. This was I'm gonna sneak out and let you guys finish up, but Phil, amazing, and thank you so much.
We love you, Beta.
We appreciate.
Mike.
We appreciate.
We love you guys too.
I don't know you enough to love you yet, Mike, but maybe someday, okay, buddy?
Someday. It's all right. It's all right. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Love. That's what it is.
That's right. These guys have all earned mine.
Take care, Mike.
All right.
And that's one of the things I think that people underestimate or don't really understand is you can have the smartest guy in the world and he won't get anything done. But you get the right team of people that are like-minded and all have a piece of the puzzle, and you can get anything done. Yeah. And I think a lot of us kind of see that here.
I'm just showing my Tetris shirt. We're getting a comment about it. It's the original Tetris shirt. I'm not going to go too low. Then you'll see my big belly if I go too far.
Well, Phil also doesn't have any pants on. He's, as he told us before the show started. He says,
"None of us always got to do the interviews."
How after dark are we getting?
Well, Retro Bro said it wasn't required. He says you guys don't wear them.
We don't. We only see us from this part up.
I do want to mention one other person you were saying about the passion of the fans, and you mentioned everybody here. OEB Pete, man, nobody is as positive and as long lasting with Team Amico as this guy. And yes, I'm back, Pete. I'm back. I'm better than ever.
Pete.
I recharged my batteries.
Tommy jumped on OEB and with OEB's relationship, and I became, and several other people in television became absolutely obsessed with building his fan base, with building his subscriber base. I invited people, Tommy invited people, Daniel invited people, anybody that we had, we were talking about it. He was giving away the unit if he got to 1,000 subscribers. I don't know what he's at now. Is he getting close to 2,000 or whatever?
I think he's
27. When I first started going on there, it was like 500-600 or whatever, and it was the road to 1,000. So now that he's at 3,000, doesn't mean he's going to buy 2 more Amicos from me so he can give them away. I haven't asked him yet, but
he probably will. I mean, he's such a generous. He has a generous heart.
He is. He's a good guy. I love it. He does the prediction stuff, and again, no question, he's certainly become. I mean, he's friends with Tommy, but I mean, it's like everybody always says. Tommy gives you guys all this stuff. Well, where is all this stuff he gives you? I don't see you have very much. Most of you bought some stuff or whatever, or whatever. Maybe a hat. Or whatever.
You know, another great thing about Pete is he's an official bro. He's a member of the Bro Force. He's a channel member. So that makes me a spoiler. So if you guys don't forget, hit that join
Not
button.
Only do we've bought all of our stuff, but we've actually given Tommy stuff. He's won stuff on OEBP in my channel. He's
run stuff on Mike's channel.
Yeah,
I mean, so
we're giving him stuff. So I don't know where all these people think that we're getting some sort of kickback. We've been giving to him. Ridiculous. So ridiculous.
I have to admit, I do the business deals, and I haven't seen any checks going out to you guys. So
oh, that's under the tip.
I told him he has to. Oh, yeah, he just
that's just not documented.
Pete said the other day, so where's my system or whatever? And I says, it's in the mail. And somebody says, is it in the mail? I said, well, it will be sometime. I don't know. Whatever. It's stuck at the border. I don't know.
Oh yeah, seriously, yeah.
That's no joke. I've had to ship some stuff to Canada, and it went to Jamaica and then got lost. I don't know what they're doing, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we have an exclusive distributor in Canada, so we're going into Best Buy. We're going into EB. We're looking at how many units I can get up there in the beginning, and whether we go into Walmart Toys, London Drug. I deal with all that, and so we do have. It's challenges. So I've got an exclusive distributor up there who then deals with those. I have a sales rep out of Toronto. We haven't announced a lot there. We needed to make sure getting units in.
Hey, quiet. Bring that off of there.
Mum's the word.
Anyway, it's we're every territory is different. I mean, and at the end of the day, we move product up there, and we control the price as far as a map price. They can't sell below a certain price point, but it comes out as. But I can't control the high end. And it's just like with GameStop, the purple went to $299, but we made sure that a $25 gift card went with it. Right. The Galaxy Purple will come back through direct sales at some point after we've launched. So their exclusive is up to launch plus like a month or whatever.
A launch window. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a launch window that they have an exclusive. It may even be 60 days. I'll have to look at it, but it actually may have been 60 days from October 10th last year, so it may be over. So it's we can, but we'll have that. The wood grain you can only get direct, and you can order that direct today. People in Canada and Europe can order direct
white
today.
Is looking pretty sweet though. The
honestly,
redesign.
that came out good. Our guys who are dealing with the colors
are so into quality, Slade and Todd, these guys nail it. And man, when it doesn't look right, and Tommy, of course, he absolutely has to be just right. And these guys are so into the quality of the product that we just don't let anything slide, guys.
Well, that's important. The industrial design, if it looks cheap, if it feels cheap, it doesn't translate. If you're at a kiosk and it doesn't feel like something that you want to pay the money for, it's not going to go anywhere. Even if there's fun games, you're going to move on. It has to feel, you
buy first with your eyes. Everything's, like iPhones, the iMacs, everything they knew, if you can get it to look right, you definitely have to have it feel right, like you were saying, Rab, but everything goes through the eyes first. You see the product first.
I don't know why people think the console is expensive. The price of 2 controllers and 6 games is $200. We're selling the console for $50, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I've tried explaining that to people before, and they don't. The only people that don't understand it are the ones that aren't listening.
Yeah.
Well, people think the people who it's not for them think it's expensive. But they wouldn't buy it at $200.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter what price it was.
Value, it's always subjective. You know what I mean?
Those are the same people that lose their mind when Nintendo puts out a $59.99 Game and Watch version of Super Mario Brothers, a game they've played a million times. So that is well worth the price because it's niche and it's cute.
I'll tell you
4 times as much for a system is too much. It's ridiculous. It will never sell.
When kids are involved, price is no object. We just bought my girlfriend and I just bought a Series S. It was like the only one we could find at Walmart. We bought it for her son, and he's like, I wanted the one with the disc, and we were like, well, there's none available. So I said to him, I'll pay $500 and I'll buy it for you, and then if you give me the S, I'm gonna give it to my ex's youngest. Yep. So look, that's $800 that we're just willing to throw at kids. $250 is not that much when you have kids. You know what I mean? And everything's E10 or below. It's
no DLCs, no loot boxes.
Yeah,
come on, guys. I mean, just look
like,
at what you're gonna spend over the life of this system, and you'll be able to buy 4 Amicos. Yeah. Order them now, guys. Order them now.
Up to 8 players too. You got 8 players.
Yeah.
This is a good question for Phil. Is there any chance there will be third-party controllers and accessories for the Amico? I think there will be accessories, but I don't know about controllers.
Yeah, I think ultimately it will depend on when we ramp up with units. I mean, to sit there and have somebody go into manufacturing and tooling for accessories or whatever right now until we even have an installed base. I mean, it's the same as third-party software. People go EA, Activision. There's a 0 installed base. How do they make money? How do they do that? Once we have an installed base, those kind of things come. So, again, we need to, you guys can help us crawl and then walk and then run. And then the running man, we'll break out the running man then, right?
Well, I like Tommy's vision. I like how he says, and I've said it on my console. The people who are in now are going to be the ones that are going to help get this thing off the ground. It's like a rocket ship going off. A rocket, it will explode and it goes real slow. You ever see them? They look like they're going super slow because they are. They're just burning a ton of fuel to get takeoff. And then once they get cruising, man, it's no looking back. And I think that's kind of how the Amico launch is going to be. It's going to be we all wanted it to be big and huge. I think, and this is just me guessing with the chip shortages and everything. I don't know if that's a possibility, but if we get some this year, we're talking about it. We're making videos. People are streaming it. The streaming is going to be huge to just see people actually play it.
Exactly.
And then people that don't have it, it's going to be that FOMO effect. Like, oh, okay, this actually looks cool. I kind of want one. Or they're going to get curious about it. And I've spent more than $250 just.
Hey, you know what? I'm sorry, Mike, you had your hand up. Why don't you ask before I?
Oh, no, I was going to say there are channels like there's the Wicked Gamer. He buys hundreds of dollars of products from China every week, even if it's crap, just to show people, and people love to watch it.
People will go buy it,
and they'll go buy it, even if it. So I mean, Amico is a quality product. Why wouldn't people buy it?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's funny because the capacitive touch screens. I mean, it's incredible. You guys saw Tommy doing the drop and the break and all that shit. That was real.
Yeah.
I mean, the fire did blow that sucker up.
He looked surprised when that happened.
Yeah,
too.
but again, it was very open kimono. I mean, Tommy is quite the showman, guys. You all know that, right? And I think that, we look at building quality. The capacitive touch screens, I'm not going to say how much have gone up just in this whole COVID time and the part shortage. Everybody using the screen for their cars, the GPSs, all refrigerators. Tommy's actually said this to you guys. I know he has. And I mean, the cost of one of our controllers are probably what some of those retro machines go for, that people wanted us to sell this for $89 or $99. Come on, guys. It's ludicrous. And right now we're dealing with it. You want to talk about, I mentioned a couple of our guys on the hardware quality control. You talk about, everybody talks about Nick being so serious. The guy works his ass off and trying to do everything he can to get this system out and get it built at a price point. And he and I were talking today, and Nick likes to have fun too. He's a good guy. He's a funny guy, but you see the business guy. He drives that part of the business. And it's like he and Tommy work so well together. And, I talk about Tommy being a reason I'm there. Nick's a reason I'm there. It's the whole team. I forced Alvarado, like I say, to take a selfie with me today, just because I could show people I know Alvarado. So
we got to get him on here. We got to get him on here one of these days.
You can't right now, or you're not going to have a system this year, guys. We got to keep his ass working.
I don't want to see him.
Okay, that's a good point. Garvey, keep your mitts off.
We even have priorities of what John can do and can't do to keep that going. And I actually gave him a hard time. I says, hey, you were commenting about these 3 or 4 IP or property we might buy. You don't have time to do that. Get off the email. So, but he's in our meetings. He and, like I say, Mike Dietz is what an incredible talent. And he brought Ed and this new guy I met today, our new artists who have worked with these guys so long. It's amazing. And then the mix of new people coming in that we're working with that have so much talent, so much to give, and love the drive and the passion. And, I kid about age, and I'm not a young pup, but I feel young. I'm in a young people's business. I love it. I have a passion for it. Pete made a comment about Tommy and I both being just kids the other day. I took that as a compliment.
You just get vibes like old Atari or old Intellivision or like Nintendo of America or Sega of America, when they were just getting their feet on the ground, and it's just everybody pouring everything in, wearing 100 hats. It just looked like so much fun today. I know it was a low quality pixelated video, but it just looked like you guys are absolutely loving what you're doing out there.
Yeah, I think that people go, they're going to have a hard time succeeding because they're not Sony, they're not Microsoft, and not Nintendo. And they're not wrong. It's hard work. It takes that drive. It takes the grassroots. It takes the early adopters and people like you spreading that word. Then we go to that next step, and we have to hit it. We have to hit it every step of the way. But it's a fun ride. I love the challenges of it. I mean, it's, I come up against some real tough things, but I love making the decisions, the tough ones too. I mean, and we're not always going to do things the way everybody wants, but we're going to do it for, I think, everybody's best interest. Somebody just said, I love the fact that you have the 2 controllers. We went through a debate at one time to hold the cost of the console down of shipping 1 controller. And Tommy said, absolutely not.
Defeats the message.
No questions asked. This is our message. This is our mission. We stay true to it. Period. Do we put a few less lights in? No, this is an entertainment piece. It's going to do this or whatever. I loved it. Somebody asked the other day, hey, can you turn the lights off because I forget what
epilepsy,
lights they have, epilepsy or migraines or whatever. And Guido answers him and says, no, you can turn them off. And he says, well, I don't want just some ordinary guy telling me this. Guido's a legend in our business. He's sit there and he's been in it 35 years. He created all these fantasy games back in the early 80s, 90s in Germany. And I wanted to say something, and Guido says, well, I'm not quite just your average guy. Guido's writing everything for the controller. He and Alvarado are the guys who make that happen, period. And he's answering, no, you can turn these off. Well, take it from Guido, you can. So you're good. So, but again, cool. And these, Guido in his own facet is a member of the team, somebody that doesn't get noticed. And I knew Guido when I went from Spectrum to Interplay in 1990, and Guido came in 93. I already knew who Guido was. I knew he was a legend in his own right. A legend is a perception that people give somebody. I don't consider myself a legend. I consider myself a guy who's had a lot of fun for 40 years in the business and something he loves doing. It's just a blast. It's a fun. I mean, hey guys, we're getting to do this together. I mean, it really is. You guys are truly a part of Team Amico, no question.
You know, and just to tag team with Rad, you know, that excitement of like something new, like from the back in the Atari, we worked in the garage and it was one person that made this game. You know, that kind of like small, almost like indie vibe. I mean, if anybody sees Retro Bro and Nick, they stream the original Castlevania. I mean, how old is that game? And they're doing it now. Like the games that you're making or you're working businesses with, Phil, they'll be being played 30 years from now. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I look at some of these games like Shark and Astro Smash and stuff like that. It's like, if you make a fun game, it doesn't matter that like some of these games are designed for kids. Like if you make a fun game, people will be playing it years and years to come. You know, I mean, you guys are pioneering the next version of that. That's where like the indie scene is right now. A lot of indie gamers, you know, it's that frontier of like, hey, let's push the hardware to its breaking point. You know, I think people don't get that part. It's like the Wright brothers. It feels like that. It feels like you're charting new territory. You know,
on the cusp of something new.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Exactly.
And that's honestly, go ahead. I'm sorry, Phil. Go right ahead.
No, go on, Nick.
I was just going to say that's kind of been the best thing about the indie scene, because it feels like the AAA scene's kind of gotten old. But the indie scene kind of has that magical feel like you guys are bringing to the table of, hey, let's try this weird idea and see if it works. Let's try this. Well, what if you did it this way? And I think that's kind of important to have. And it's a lot of what the industry has lost. And I think that's why seeing this kind of growing excitement, especially after E3 for your product.
Right. So what do you guys think of E3? I know it's kind of funny because some people were critical at first. And then I think Tommy gave you guys a little bit of a hint of what he was trying to accomplish before he did it. Your general thoughts?
I'll start. I enjoyed it. I thought, you know, it was an introductory to the world on, you know, a grand stage. You know, you guys were in front of hundreds of thousands of people. You didn't try and say, hey, we're not taking your Switch away. You know, that was, so I think that was good. That was good. It was, you know what I like?
Tommy was more controlled than me.
It was, you presented yourselves as different. And I think that was important.
Some people needed to hear.
Yeah. I thought they did a really great job of introducing the product to people, to an audience that basically you could assume nobody knew anything about it. I mean, it wasn't a presentation for us because we've been following it for a while. There was very little there that I saw that I hadn't seen before. But as I sat there and watched it, I go, this is exactly the way you needed to do this. You guys cut this just the right way. Because it said everything that usually takes Tommy an hour and a half to 2 hours to start to say. Because it's Tommy.
Right.
It condensed it down to 10 minutes.
Only 10.
And that alone was a miracle.
You know, they did that by cutting out one every 100 words that Tommy said, and just that's how you compressed it.
I have to tell you guys something very special about this video and how well Tommy did with it in shooting it. I watched some of the shooting of it. Rob and the marketing team did a great job with Tommy. Tommy did, when he shot it, he did some little pauses. It was probably about, I don't know whether it was 10 and a half, 11 and a half or 12. I think it was probably closer to 11. So there were some little cuts when he took breaths so we could get the 10 minutes in that made him seem like he doesn't take a breath. We all know he can talk for 30 minutes without taking a breath. So he has an incredible talent to do that. But we even cut some of that out. So it's funny. My wife is actually in Sweden right now, and she watched it. And so I said, what did you think? And she says, well, for somebody who didn't really understand it, because I haven't told her a lot about the system. And so she kind of saw it as her premiere. She says, for somebody who didn't know about the system, it went a little quick. Tommy didn't. I says, well, that was our fault because we had to get it within 10 minutes. He did some great pauses. When I looked at the original footage, he allowed some of it to soak in or whatever. I think we did a good job. We were really worried about the cadence, but I think he did a credible job. He is so good in front of the camera. I like to be on the other side of the camera shooting it. I've been in camera some. I'm comfortable with talking to you guys, right? I'm actually comfortable talking at a conference where it's everybody in our industry because I know the industry like the back of my hand, so it's not forced. It's easy. And I always say I don't have a good enough memory to lie because I don't take good notes. And I wouldn't know 6 months later what I said. So I can never trap myself as long as I don't lie. And I'm not going to please everybody with what I say. Not everybody's going to like it, but I don't think that's your purpose on earth. I don't think that's what you're about. I think I would rather be honest. And I said a while ago what I did better than anybody. I said no better than anybody, but I said it quickly. I even sent people to other companies to help them get published. A year later, they'd have another game that they wanted to show. Guess who they'd come to first? Because they knew they got a quick and honest answer. They'd come back to me. You know, when I did a virtual pool, I did that particular deal, because I acted quicker than Maxis and Jeff Braun up at Maxis. I called Jeff Braun and Will, and when they had done SimCity, and I said, hey, there's this new thing coming out called multimedia in 1990. I says, and we're doing it down at Interplay, and they said, really? What's it about? Well, you do movie cuts and you just, that's too much for us. I won't even tell you the percentage and the zero advance I got for multimedia rights to SimCity that when EA bought Maxis, they had to buy back from us because we had the rights for it for basically very little. I mean, they made a lot on royalty, but the thing of it is within a year, we'd supplanted their PC sales with multimedia CD-ROM sales. So, it's interesting. I love the business. I love the passion.
One of the things that
no lag, Tommy? What the fuck's going on there? No lag. Sorry, guys. I had to do that. They were laughing. They said no lag. Okay, good.
But Phil, I did what you asked. What we thought of the presentation. One of the things that I had noticed was that Tommy was very humble. Like, he comes across, because he's a salesman, he seems like he wants to hype up everything. And to some people, I like that, but to some people it comes across braggadocious. But in this case, he toned it down, and I think he took a lot of feedback in the months that he's been interacting with us into this presentation. A lot of the stuff like, let's be cooperative with the other companies. We're not trying to supplant them. Or there was a lot of comments from the naysayers about some of the system where he's changed his messaging, not the actual, like, he hasn't lied or anything, like he just changed it slightly to explain things so that there wouldn't be those questions coming up now. The way he explained it 5 months ago, there was a lot of questions because he left one or two things out. In this presentation, he hit everything perfectly with the right cadence. I know you said he took breaths and stuff, but the right tone, maybe the tone is a better word for it. I thought it was great. And for people like you said, like you guys listen. I mean, this is a testament to Tommy listening. I mean, somebody said I think Tommy said he only had a couple days to make this, but he's been practicing this for 2 years. He's been going to us and talking to us, and every time I've heard his spiel on he refines.
Sorry to cut you off. I that's the first time I've really looked at Moon Patrol. That looks 1,000 times better than what it was like last time I seen it. I just realized that. Go on, Mike.
No, we definitely should put side by sides. But I just wanted to tell Phil, like, maybe you can pass this on to Tommy. Like, he's refined his pitch in the last 2 years. He's listened, and he does change. It's not the same message. It's the same bullet points, but they're spoken in a better way. He's improved a lot,
He does listen to you guys. I know he probably came on, and I actually know he listens to you because I listen to him talking on your show often. So, and sometimes I'm silent. Usually I'm not. I usually say a little something or whatever. But I sit back and I go to a lot of these video casts or podcasts or whatever they're called. And I think that we all learn a lot from. I mean, you're the guys who pay our bills. You're going to buy our system. You're going to you're our customer, and our customer. It's a customer-driven market, and we want to build just an excellent product. And again, I don't even really mean excellent. I mean fun. I mean, what Tommy said is exactly right. We just want people to have fun, and I mean. There's not much you can do with $250 this day and age. You can go grocery shopping maybe twice.
Yep.
And in COVID times, probably once. I mean, and it's things are your car insurance. What does that cost you a month? Okay, quit paying it a month and buy an Amico. I don't care. I think we've built something very unique, and again. It may be not for everybody. If I were single and didn't have a life and only played video games, maybe I'd want the hardcore and spend $80 a game to have, what I get on an Xbox or PlayStation or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I've owned Xboxes, PlayStations. 1,000 hours on Rally Sports Challenge means I was pretty hooked. I was on Xbox Live. Out of over 40,000 people that were on Xbox Live on Rally Sports Challenge, I ranked in the top 25 in the world. So that's how much I played it. I don't know if I was that good, but I played it a lot.
Well, I've heard you talk about Nerd Niche with pride and address yourself there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like you said, if you were younger, you'd get all these systems. We all have a lot of these systems. This is a complimentary system for us. Now, for the families, this might be their only system, or if they have young kids, that might be their only system. Would be the Amico, but for a lot of us, this will be our second or third, or system. But it's doing things that the other systems aren't doing, or it's doing them in a way that the other systems aren't doing them. And I want to address this. Everyone says
aren't doing it very visibly.
Yeah. They say it's like a phone game. My phone costs $1,000 now. Mm-hmm. A lot of phones cost that much. Now, we don't see it because we pay it a monthly bill over the course of 2 years to pay for it. But they're $1,000. This is $250. Like you said, there's not much you can do for $250.
Real close. I told Verizon why they should give me a $30 break on my bill coming up. I have 5 lines. I've had it for 30 years. I've paid Verizon over $100,000. Tell me the phone's inexpensive.
You should have had like 2 minutes in that presentation on Monday.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm excited about this game because I always wanted to like Echo. Like that was a game I always wanted to play and I always wanted to enjoy it, but it made me feel stupid. I could never figure it out. I'd get lost. I wouldn't know where to go. And seeing that games on Intellivision are going to be a little bit easier for dummies like me. I'm really excited about. Is it Dolphin Quest, right? Is that the name of it? Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, that's the name. As to whether that'll be the final name, but that's the name it's going under right now. So yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that team that did Echo. I mean, Ed. What brilliant guys, and they get the whole moniker of what we're doing. And so they understand and know that that's what they want to deliver. So it's and who doesn't love dolphins, right? Come on.
Right.
I mean, I think the fact
Sharks.
that
Sharks don't.
Well, we got that too, right?
Hey, you got sharks and dolphins.
We got sharks and
Emulators
dolphins.
love Dolphin. I mean, because you can play Wii and GameCube. But
Mr. Ed didn't. I think they went head to head. It didn't work out.
It's going to be. I'm absolutely going to play the Dolphin Quest game. It's something that I will enjoy with family, and it's cool. I won't go into too much because we'll come out with stuff along the way. But I really believe that's going to be a very special product.
And I think there's something to be said, like John was saying. He wanted to like Echo, but he just didn't get it, didn't understand something. And how many games are out there now that we love because we're gamers, because they are designed a specific way for people who know the language of video games, know that when you press a certain button, that will access a menu, that will jump, that will speed dash you to the right or to the left. We understand what is expected in video game design, but that's been a growing direction for 45 years. Like these are how games are made. This is what you expect. You've already played these 3 video games. Now we're going to play, this new Metroid that's coming out. We're not going to walk people through it like it's the first time, their first introduction to Metroid. It's probably going to be people that love and adore the Metroid franchise, have a set of expectations about what that game is going to be, and they're going to build on top of that. It's not going to be a welcoming experience for someone that has never played Metroid before. If they have you sitting on the couch with them, telling them what to do, it's a different experience. But for a lot of people, gaming is very intimidating. And to have these games that you don't feel intimidated. You don't feel stupid because you don't understand what the double dash is or what, how to do a flip or something. If the controls are easy to understand and learn and it doesn't take a lot of complex instructions, I think people who are on the periphery of games, looking at them thinking, oh, that looks interesting, but it's not for me. And they just have bad experiences. I think you could bring some people like that onto something like Amico and they can have a good takeaway experience and think, oh, I want to get this for my family.
Yep.
By the way, the
ahead.
email thing, how were you guys inundated with the groovy emails?
They told me a number today. They told me a number today. I forget what it was. I thank goodness they don't hit my email, so I get enough as it is. But I believe there were. I'm going to say 3,000. It may have been 4 to 5, but at least 3,000 entrances today. Over. I know we got over 2,000 business cards, and I have to tell you. The system, I actually created an avatar and went into the booth to see if I could answer a few questions, and I couldn't. And it was all text, and you couldn't reach anybody. But I went around to all the people that had booths, and I thought our information was as complete or more complete than about anybody else's. And again, hats off to Daniel. You'll see Daniel C on here commenting from time
my
to
snapping
time.
God, 5,000.
Yeah. But Daniel, there he is right there.
Wow.
Right there. So Daniel and Danny and the marketing group made that happen. Sometimes Daniel's referred to, as a guy in customer support. He's much more than that, guys. He is, and he's a very modest individual. He's out of our
it was Dan's emails. Sorry, Dan.
So it was.
You didn't get your email in. Make sure
it was 5,000. So.
That's nuts.
Daniel is just another one of the team members we're so lucky to have at the company, and he and like I say, Hans and Jason and Tom. I mean, I can just go on and on and on, and it just doesn't end. And we get guys that don't have the experience that bring so much to the table. I'm remiss, and understand something. We went into a lot of what I did and my accomplishments, and I didn't do them by myself. I had team members. I had help. I had a team behind me. And I always told developers I was happy to take front stage. And 30 years ago, my ego was bigger. I like to take credit for shit that, other people did. And maybe, I don't know. I don't really care today. I'm just so happy that I get to represent this awesome development talent, and anybody who says we don't have some of the best development talent in the world really doesn't know who we're dealing with or who the people around the world are doing. Like you guys said, we showed that last year, and it just, we got some of the most awesome teams out there that all have kind of bought into the program. I mean, the guys doing Missile Command did Carmageddon back here in the day, Stainless. What an awesome group. I've worked with Patrick for 30 years. I've worked with the team doing Major League Baseball, Sesame Street, and others. I've worked with the head of that company for close to 40 years. So I'm missing all the good stuff. I need to quit talking and start reading.
I can't wait for some of these smaller developers you're working with to be the independent third parties going off on their own, understanding what it is that Amico game needs to be and going off and doing their thing and delivering to you guys.
Yeah.
Becoming their own all-stars.
And a lot of them do stuff on other products and properties, and they enjoy, because we have a unique system with up to 8 player, we can do some exclusive content that they can't do on other systems or whatever. And that's okay. And, you know, I mean, I could tell you about, you know, one of the licenses I'm negotiating that they wanted on multiple systems. And I can't tell you because you all beg for it all the time. And it's not an easy license to get. And if if you guys all want to chip in $250,000 a piece, I can lock it up tomorrow. So
checks in the mail.
Yeah, we'll get that going.
You know, and
somewhere
again,
in the mailroom.
It's
didn't say
as we been. I know. OEB Pete's saying that somewhere out there.
Tron expensive discs.
So, I think it is. There are a lot of things that we will do. And once we can justify having the units out there, that we can justify the sales and the minimum guarantees that we need to do to hit certain things, we'll get there. The deals that we've cut were there because those people would buy into what we're doing for now, and then we'll expand there.
Well,
you know.
Yeah. I kind of want to ask a question in regards to that. I know that everything's all focused on the launch, but I've always said this, and I think you said it in the beginning about that there's a bottleneck. And I always said to Tommy, when I first, even like a year ago when I interviewed him, I said that was the one thing I noticed that was an issue that I saw with Amico is everything filters to the top. And it has to go through Tommy. It has to go through a few people in your office. I mean, because by the nature of it, where you all are financing some of these indies, we're not talking about the licenses, but that's another issue as well. But these indies, and then you're helping them as well. It's kind of minimizing a lot of what you can do. I know that Tommy said in the beginning he wanted a certain amount of games to be at launch, and then a certain amount of time between each game. Has that changed? I mean,
no, we're tracking on that.
Okay.
I mean, we've got over 50 products. We've got over 50
Okay.
products in development. We've got probably 20s that are kind of. We said hold off a little bit, guys, and then we'll crank those up once we get here.
Okay.
And
so that's still on track.
It absolutely is. I mean, and there's certain things we'd like to kick off development on, and once we get certain things done. You know, it's just like the team doing Major League Baseball is going to go on to another licensed title, but we won't begin development until baseball's done. So, again, it's all cadence and timing, right? And, you know, it's, again, we've got some great properties. I mean, come on. Did it not make sense that we didn't do an NBA product, that we did a game with the Harlem Globetrotters family, you know, family-based,
awesome.
family-oriented.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Stuff like that, and you got the billiards, and I believe you've got, I think, Brunswick bowling. You know, like it doesn't have to be the highest tier; it can be, you know, some of the mid tiers. And I mean, even the soccer doesn't even have to have a license with it; it could just be an arcade soccer game. And that's one thing I wanted to mention is like what I said before about there are several games out there right now from indie developers. I just want to you know, not caution you, but at least my recommendation is don't forget the indie stuff, because, you know, 10 good indies might be worth more than one good license. And I know you're trying to go after the license right now because
I'm not to a degree, because we are doing soccer without a license. You know, yeah. I talked to one of the other major sports leagues, and I'm not going to pay
that kind of fee or whatever.
We don't
and
care because a game is a game. Now, like I said, the licenses will help you with the families that go to Walmarts and Targets and they see it on the shelf. But for people like us, we'd much rather just have a game that, even if it's an indie developer and maybe they're struggling, but they have a good concept. Like that Fox and Forest, now it's Finnegan Fox. I bought the game before Tommy even said that you guys are going to come out with it. Thank goodness you guys are fixing it because I couldn't pass it. It was too hard. So I know you guys are tweaking the difficulty, but those kind of games are diamonds in the rough. And I watched 2 or 3 people. A lot of them said that was their favorite looking game, and that's an indie game that no one knew about. So,
I mean, people sit there and they talk, hey, did you taking that and you're porting it? Oh my God. If you looked at the amount of money we're spending on converting these and building them to be specific Amico titles, you guys wouldn't be shocked, but you understand that you guys know Tommy, and Tommy's just not going to do that. Right. I mean, it is very unique and special. And, Tommy will look at a game and goes, all right, I want a developer meeting. This isn't fun. How do we make this fun? Let's scrap the other shit. Let's make it fun. And then we'll build on and finish it off, or whatever. So, again, it's not just because Tommy's looking at it. We only have one John Alvarado. We only have one Mike Dietz. We only have this. I mean, we've got 4 very experienced testers in our office in Salt Lake that were working and have done this at a very high level. But there's only so many units they can have. I can only build so many dev kits at cost, and we're having trouble getting some parts. We've got, we're there. We got more coming, but I can only get so many out there. I got to have them for tests. I'm going to have for media. I'm going to have, it's an endless cycle, but we're working our ass off on getting it done, guys. We really are. And again, I can only ship so many units in the beginning. Do I really need 200 games for 30,000 or 50,000?
No, definitely not. Units? No, we're talking down the road. Yeah,
we've even discussed. I don't know if we talked about it here, but I don't know. Maybe Pete talked about it on Amico All Access about maybe even like we don't need 40 titles at launch. Some of us are just happy with the pack-ins. So the fact that we even get that.
If you cut that down to 20 and then had those other 20 just throughout
which is what we've heard from Tommy, I think.
That's fine with us. That's fine. Like if you just stagger them out, that's fine.
And that's what you said about
it lets you play games and then you're looking for that next one. They're challenged you buy 10 at one time and some are going to sit there. Let's keep you going. Let's keep, and I think I went far to be a real game. That's my dream.
Upton.
We love you, Cyrus.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have Kate deliver that to Cyrus, and then he'll like Farkle. So, but I think it's a challenge. It's one we're up for. We're having fun doing it. It can't be 20 retro games day one. There's got to be some in the Sesame and Care Bears, some in the each one.
I am streaming Care Bears in my Care Bear outfit.
We like all those games, man. We like the Care Bears and stuff. We don't care. Some of us here will only do the retro, but we like all those games, the Farkles and stuff. Cyrus is just being a hater. Look, we like the board games, the dice games, the family games.
Cyrus isn't being a hater. He's a big supporter. I have no problem. I love Cyrus. He was down in Texas, right? Yeah. So, I mean, you can't be a hater and go hang with Tommy, right? I mean, come on. Cyrus is a good guy.
Cyrus was having an off day. Otherwise, he would have been on here with us. I think this is the actual first Amico After Dark that he's missed. So we miss him this week. Hopefully he'll be back next week. But,
it's great.
Even Care Bear,
bro. We have the one thing about this community, and then we've talked about it so many times, is how it's all brought us together and how we're all excited for the Amico. And I know like me and Mullis early on, like when you guys first announced the October date, we're like, no, it has to be October. It has to be this. It has to be that, or else. And then you see what's going on with Sony and Microsoft and automobile manufacturers. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like Sony's talking about a redesign.
Crazy times.
Like, what does that
Yeah,
mean
absolutely.
for Amico? And I'm like, you know what? I can wait. You know, if it happens, it happens. I can wait. That's why I asked you how are the retailers, like, how are the retailers, you know, accepting of this? And it was nice to hear you say that they're understanding what's going on, because even
They just want to make sure that we coordinate our marketing effort and the timing together. They want to make sure that they don't give me shelf space and I'm not putting product on the shelf.
Yeah.
They want to, I mean, I've been doing this for 40 years in this business, guys. So, you know,
let me ask you, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a
it's just making sure you're communicating with them. And I mean, I've got another person in sales, incidentally, who worked with me at Interplay. She was at Nintendo for years, and she has better hardware knowledge of the sales retail than I do. So she brings incredible depth to our company as well. It's something I don't even talk about. And I look at her experience of 25 years in the biz. So
yeah, I heard a story.
Rob,
go ahead.
let me, I feel like this is an important question. Let me get this in. But I'll walk me through the process of like how you're going to go ahead and get shelf space from, you know, Walmart, Best Buy, GameStop when the time comes, like shelf space that would maybe usually be reserved for Microsoft or Nintendo or Sony. How is Amico going to go in there and get shelf space? I feel like you'd be the guy to ask that question.
Well, I mean, it's timing and cadence. We don't have enough units to hit all the Walmarts in the beginning, right? So we'll start small. We'll be Best Buy, ED, probably Walmart in Canada. We'll go to Walmart.com. We'll be at I don't have units to put into Costco right now. We'll probably do Costco.com. We're going to be on Amazon. Amazon, you're going to be able to purchase Amazon Canada. We're already Amazon in Europe. And it's kind of funny because in Europe, we go through Koch Media and they sell to Amazon. So we don't even control when they bring some of the stuff out or whatever too. So I think that it's just a matter of we're going to sell through the units we've got. Walmart.com is excited about it. We do well there. Then Walmart retail's ready to stack it, and we're ready to build those units to them. We need to purchase enough parts and units to drive our costs down to have the margin to get in on their shelf space, because they have margin requirements. And guess what, guys? We're not selling $60, $70, $80. Microsoft and Sony, it's a razor blade theory, right? They sell for very little margin on their hardware and they make huge margin on their software. Well, we're not doing that yet.
I think they're actually losing.
There's your
on their
precursor
hardware,
warning from the chief revenue officer.
Yeah, they're I believe losing money on their units. I think
On
the
their
only one
hardware.
making right. I think the only one making money is Nintendo right now.
Yeah,
off their actual hardware.
Yeah, and they were
Nintendo-
making cents, $1.50 off of the initial. Well, that's a
Yeah,
made
what
up
we-
number, but it was
what we have
very,
to do
very,
is
the only
very
one
close.
for the last couple generations that's actually made money off their hardware. Everybody else generally takes a loss.
Well, we don't know about
I
the
mean-
Wii U. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks, Dan. Dan, get a Care Bear mug in the get a Care Bear mug in
Daniel.
the Intellivision shop for me, okay?
Do you even distribute?
So part of it is you build a margin base with them. So we have to have accessories that have higher margins. We have to have different things like that, so we can drive that margin up. So we are considered part of a mix, so to speak.
Right.
So again, we've got our skins, we've got our bags, we've got the joysticks, buttons for the phones. We've got all of that type of stuff. So we'll give them a little better margin on that to make it a better margin play overall. Daniel's sending hugs now and love. So
Speaking
I
of
don't know
all these-
Daniel that closely.
Daniel, if that's meant for me, I'll call you later, baby.
This is a good idea Mike had.
Yeah.
So I think the answer is we build in kind of an overall margin. It's not easy, and you guys who think we're just the people think we're scamming or like we're charging all this money. The cost of goods on this baby is there's not huge margin in it for us either. Matter of fact, our retailers and some of those people are making more margin than we are.
I believe it. I'm in I'm in the supplement industry, and our retailers want 50%, and we don't even make that on most of our products. It's insane. I can't imagine what it's like in the electronics industry.
Again, it's building a whole story. You know how you build a story. You guys, it's not just the hardware, it's the joysticks, it's the accessories, it's the software. What's the whole Intellivision story? What's going to make it be not just something I buy at launch, but to sell millions of units and to go on? So Daniel's getting more laughs than I am. Yes, he's funny. We have to have Daniel on here next time.
Yeah, and then you can be in chat and make a comment.
There you go. I can be Daniel's wingman in the next
question about something. This came across. I was listening to these two guys. I think they're from England or maybe Australia. I just listened to them right before this, and they were listening to the conference, and they noticed that physical is $20 or less at launch, and digital's $9 or $10 or less at launch, and they said that's the way it should be. But the Microsofts and the Sonys and the Nintendos of this world, they have to butt up against these retail that they don't want the online stores to cheapen the price, because then they don't get sales in their product. How are you all? Did you guys skate in because you guys are lower? Like you're not one of the big three?
Number one, in our physical goods, there's some nice collectible treats in there that build value.
Yep.
And you guys just collect.
What I'm saying is, my understanding is this is, okay, let's say Sony could sell a product at $40 digitally, but it's the retailers force them to put it up to 60 because then they sell it at 60 physical. It's not the other way around. People think it's like we want to make our money. We don't want it. So Sony and Microsoft, they have, at least as far as I know, they have agreements that they're not going to lower it. I mean, that's why they have so many sales, is because they can lower it on the sales. But they have to market as the same product has to be the same amount.
Garvey, what do you get?
Hold it.
But what do you get from Sony and Xbox? What are you getting when you buy a physical?
What I'm saying
media
is
that's the answer. But that's the answer. I know what your question is. This is the answer. When you buy physical media from Sony and Xbox, what are you getting? You're getting a disc. That's it, and a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
What Phil's saying is you're getting much more than that.
No.
Therefore, because therefore the retailer's going to understand. Okay, you're getting $9.99 on their eShop, but when you buy a physical edition from us, you're getting so much more. So it actually makes it worth more. Because
I'm asking the opposite, Retro. I'm asking, why isn't the retailers telling you should sell it on digital $20 to match our $20? That's what I'm saying.
So they don't ignore retail and run to digital.
Here's the deal. Number one, we're not in all retailers day one, right?
Yeah.
Number two, Topps gift cards will be at GameStop. Top gift cards will be at EB in Canada. When they bring in a Topps gift card, it goes through two different distributors. Those distributors, they get to take this inventory and put it in their store. They sell the gift card. That gift card lets people download the games digitally. They get a piece of our digital revenue for doing nothing other than selling a gift card. Guess what it costs them to have those gift cards in their store? Zero.
Yeah.
Zero cost of goods. They get bottom line margin off of our digital business without spending a dime. So it is part of my margin enhancement for them to carry my product. So when I talk about here's 10, 15% that they're making a sales spiff on this gift card.
All right.
And I
get
the gift cards.
I was just wondering
and then my distributor in Canada doesn't get any of that, but he gets to sell that as part of his pitch for why he's giving him less margin on my hardware. Hey, but guess what? You're making it up over here on your gift card, and I'm not even making any money on that one, but it's part of what they like too.
Because I was just wondering how you all skated underneath that. Because like I said, the retailers in places like GameStop and stuff like that, and Walmart especially and stuff like that, they kind of bully. I know people think that Sony and Microsoft, they're big, but I mean to be honest, the same thing doesn't happen to Steam because they don't sell in retail anymore, and so they can set prices whatever they want, on games. So I was just wondering how you skated through with that.
They participate in our digital
gift card
business,
that makes sense.
and they do it without having to have net 30 or net 60 or net 45-day terms on it, and have to. So if they buy physical from me, they have to write me a check for that. And if they sell it, they don't sell it, they've got that to worry about. On the digital, they sell a gift card. If that gift card just sits in their store, they don't pay a dime for it. It didn't cost them anything. They didn't have to buy it. They don't have to discount it. They don't have to sell it or whatever. So, but incidentally, Tommy's always wanted that gift card. I mean, and we want to be in grocery stores and everywhere, but until we have units out there, until we're more of a household name, I mean, once people realize there can be a fourth console that can be successful, then we'll be in grocery stores. So
I kind of wonder how Sony and Microsoft aren't getting in on that, because they sell gift cards in Best Buy and GameStop and stuff like that. Only
they're also distributed by the two major distributors. There's two major distributors that service Best Buy, Target, everybody. So anyway, that's where it is. EB Canada. So did I hear Amico at EB Games?
Yeah.
I don't know what you
I don't know. Canadian Tire.
I don't know what you heard, Pete.
Tell Pete to go back watching his Canadians. He's like half listening to us, half listening to the hocky game.
Phil said you're getting him at Tim Hortons. So EB
Games will have something. It will shout out to you in the very near future, Pete. So
there you go.
And I will let people know that because GameStop had the exclusive purple, EB in Canada will as well. So
no word on the red.
You heard it. Do what?
No word on the GTO red, huh?
If I've got limited units I can get out, and I've got one line, and I have to shut down the line for every color. So there will be a red. It will be special. We'll do a special introduction when we can. We know there's a lot of demand for it. And and you know what? We need to nail that color perfectly.
That'll be only Pete's sixth Amico.
We can't screw it up.
Actually,
that's why we're delaying it, so we will make sure OEB Pete buys 6 units. That's the whole reason. So.
Right.
It's OEB.
I feel like
Pete's
that's a fair reason. It's Pete's fault.
Yeah, it's again. I wish I had 200,000 units shipping day one, but it will get there. Again, patience and timing and cadence and we'll get there.
Yeah. Awesome. Exactly. Well, listen, we're at the 2-hour mark. Does anybody have any final questions they want to ask Phil?
You never talked to me before, John. I knew for a second you weren't going to get away with 30 to 45 minutes.
I didn't know what to expect. And I always, because I don't want to take up too much time for people, because I know this is, fun for us. So
my wife's a U.S. citizen. She's also a Swedish citizen. She's in Sweden right now, or you wouldn't be seeing me right now.
There you go.
I wouldn't have permission. I'm in her office in here. I took her poster down and put my Gato poster up. So
well, before we go, I'm going to tell you one thing, Phil. I'm going to tell you one thing that I want to thank you for, and this is from my mom. My mom, the only time I ever saw my mom play a video game, to this day even, she will only play Tetris. She loves Tetris. She's literally the best Tetris player I know. So I have to say thank you to you for doing that, because it was, I would know, I'd go to bed and I kind of played Tetris, but I'd hear and then I would just go to bed. I'm like, oh, mom's playing Tetris.
It's too bad we didn't have Tommy around then. The music would have been much better. So.
I liked the Tetris music. I thought it was great.
It was all Russian themed, and we could say Russia back then because it was still communist Russia. When I first went to Russia,
the Soviet Union, 88, right?
You know what? You talk about tough negotiations. When you sit there and you negotiate a contract,
and who you're negotiating with. Behind them are two soldiers holding the equivalent of the Russian versions of M16s. You think about how hard you want to negotiate a point. You think negotiation's tough. You try that. Thank goodness I was young, naive at the time. Although I kid when I found a Spectrum holobyte in '83, and I'm 67 now. I said, hell, I was even old back then. So it's interesting. You think about it, but honestly, I was very naive. I didn't think about it at all. To me, it was doing what's right and what you do. So I really, I love being in the business. I love doing what we do. I love hanging with you guys. I love talking about the industry. There's, my main foray in it was very PC concentric, like what you said a while ago, Rab. I learned the console. When I first did the deal with Hank Rogers, and I'll give you the whole Tetris story someday. It's a story in itself.
Well, but you showed it to Ron Judy, right?
Yes. How did you know that?
I'm a groupie. I told you I'm a Philly fanatic.
honest. That's a story not many people know, and it was funny because I was going to the airport after our first show with Tetris. It's the same show I showed Hank at. And I hop in the car with Ron Judy, and Ron Judy was the president of Nintendo Europe. And I said to Ron, I says, you got to see this. I pulled out my laptop. I showed it to him. And it's funny because people credit Hank with saying Tetris will make the Game Boy and the Game Boy will make Tetris. Well, I quoted that about a year before Hank did. Hank can deny that. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I would rather that Hank get all the credit and I had his money. Instead, I don't get credit or money, either one, off of it because I worked with a company with it. So, but I did show Ron. And then I started talking with then president in the U.S., Howard Lincoln. I then dealt with Len Valso, who was the head legal counsel. And then our European group then kind of did it. Hank didn't steal it. Hank was sharp. I would have done the same thing Hank did, just so you know. Hank's a good guy. I love Hank. I love Alexei. But anyway, our European group then kind of did a license deal with Tengen, and it looked like Hank was going to get cut out. So Hank had to think quick and had to go on his feet. So he went and got the person we licensed it from, found a loophole in the contract. That's a whole different story. But Nintendo at the time was going after Tengen for reverse engineering, if you remember. Well, Tetris got caught in the middle of that. And that's how, that's why at 67, I'm not retired and a millionaire. I'm working my ass off trying to make it go. That's all I can tell you guys. If that would have been a different story, you wouldn't be seeing me tonight. We're having fun, right?
Well, we wouldn't have the Amico, so it would have.
There you go.
Well, you would, Tommy. Again, you guys are very fortunate, and again, I mean, Tommy gets misjudged. His passion is so great that people get jealous of it. They think you said that sometimes people look at it as a bravado. He's just proud. I mean, Tommy's worked for everything he's gotten, guys. He has worked his ass off. He's come from his passion and his love and his drive, and he's done some amazing things. And he's just a good guy. He really is. You guys know that. I hate seeing all this crap about him because he doesn't deserve it. And again, for clicks. But I don't, absolutely. I don't have time to think about it, worry about it. We're happy to be here. We're happy with what we're doing. You
all will get the last laugh. You all will get the last laugh because as soon as this thing launches, all those haters will move on to something else. I mean, you see all these haters that they go to Star Wars and then now they're bagging on Marvel and then they're bagging on Amico. These groups, they just
it's internet culture.
Yeah, it's internet culture.
Yeah. It's funny. We did a product years ago. You guys have probably heard of the game called Fallout. Yeah. So when we originally were doing Fallout at Interplay or whatever, and I'm actually the guy who initiated the sale between Interplay and Bethesda. I found a home for it because we didn't have the money to fund it and move forward with it. It Interplay, and I got a hold of the head of development, Todd, and we created a deal and went through and kind of made that happen. Later, the whole IP got sold by the group at Interplay later than that, but I initiated the original deal. So, but with Fallout, it was just, the people were so passionate about it. It was unbelievable. So when they didn't like something, man, you heard about it. And that's when I backed off and says, "Oh, hey, talk to the Obsidian guys. Let's talk to those guys. They're the ones developing it or whatever." And then, of course, if it was good news, then I'd take credit for it. But no, it was fun. It was a good time. We looked at what success were. You have your critics and you try to make your product better. I did at Interplay. We had a couple of games called Baldur's. We had a Baldur's Gate license. So I'm the guy that went to Lake Geneva and met with, Lorraine Williams was taking over for Gary at the time. I had met Gary before. I didn't really do the deal. Lorraine Williams had taken over the program, and Will Martin was their business guy. And I did the original deal after Joel at SSI had done the original licenses and had done all the games back in the day. And I actually took all the SSI products and we did a collection pack at Interplay because Joel was a buddy of mine. And so I went over and I met with Lorraine, and I went to whatever their games con's called in Milwaukee, the AD&D show or whatever. And I went and I originally did the license for all their properties. And then we cut it back to Baldur's Gate and Planescape. Because we didn't want to we couldn't do that many pieces of content, and we didn't want to see the license get held up and other people not do it. So we just cut the license back to those two lands and properties. And it was funny. I think the first time I went to Lake Geneva was in wintertime. And I know you're over 2 hours. I'll shut up. I swear, John.
No.
I'm driving out of Chicago up into, the southern part of Wisconsin in the wintertime. And I swear to God, the landscape looked like Planescape. I just got to do
it. Baldur's Gate, you mean one of those
glad you survived.
cell phone games? I just looked it up. It actually is on the cell phone.
Yes.
Cell phone games. Yeah, well, that's great graphics.
And when we did Dark Alliance on the console, it was 2-player that went together on the screen. And I remember playing with my daughter and going through and playing Dark Alliance together. And I did the role-playing stuff. I didn't have the patience to do it on PC or the time, but I did it on console. And so there were some things I did console, some things I did PC, again, what a great business. What a great industry. What a lot of fun we're having, right, guys? It's like, we're so privileged. We're so lucky to be involved into what our passion is. I've been involved in my passion for my entire life. I don't care what happens at the end. It's a great life. I couldn't have. We're so lucky. I get to hang out with you guys. Look at that. Hey,
the highlight it feels
better.
I'm sure.
So much. Thank you so much for coming on.
Until the wife gets back, okay?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks again.
I'm actually going to visit her in a couple of weeks, so I'm headed to Sweden week after next. So
everybody in the chat, the regulars, the new people, if you're new here, just be sure to subscribe. We're here every Wednesday at 9. If we're not here, we're going to be over on Nick Geeks with Cash's channel, so go check him out. He's usually our secondary. So it's either my channel or his channel. Phil, thank you again so much. If you guys have not pre-ordered your Intellivision yet, go to Intellivision.com.
Email Daniel.
Email Daniel.
Yeah.
But go check it out. There's new merch on there. And,
great merch, by the way.
We're just excited for everything. So Phil, again, thank you. Everyone else on the panel, thank you, and we'll see everybody in next week.
We love it. Thank you, guys. We appreciate the support. Thanks for having me on. I'll see you on the chat, and I'll come on again sometime. The wife's not coming back to the end of September. We got plenty of time.
All right.